Hey everybody, it's Dr. Joe's in the house, coming live and direct from the DC area. I'm here now, and it's wonderful to be back in the DC area, and hopefully you're doing well. I've been away for obviously probably over a month now, and yeah, it's been a very interesting last 4 weeks, I suppose. Well, several things. Obviously, as you know, I went to Ghana, had a wonderful time, and saw family, friends, and just relaxed. But unfortunately, while I was there, my brother's wife passed away, so that was a shock and a surprise, and kind of dampened things down a little bit. So so that's the reason why I stayed there a little bit longer. But I will be going back to Ghana next week for about 2.5 weeks for the funeral and other related activities. So I just came in last Thursday night, and looks like I'm flying back out again next Wednesday. So I will not be doing a live Wealth Wednesday next week. Hopefully, I'll do a session while I'm in Ghana if I can do that. But yeah, I will be returning back to Ghana next week for about 2.5 weeks. So anyway, in the meantime, I'm here back in the DC area. Look forward to another great session with everybody here. And so let me put the folks down on Instagram on. Let's have a look. I think they should be on now. They should be going live on Instagram. And let's get back down to business here. So they've got a very interesting, topic. It's really trying to get balanced between real estate investing and your personal goals, personal life, and things like that. So I kind of called it ambition versus peace, how winning investors balance both. I think that's what we all want to do, is to have balance in our lives, have success, but also enjoy the benefits of life. As I said, my brother's wife passed away. It really got me thinking, priorities, what's important, what's not so important, and what are you chasing after? And at the end of the day, is it really worth it? Because there are certain things in life that are irreplaceable. And I think a lot of people are just out of balance. And I thought it was an appropriate topic to have it today. So essentially, let's get down to business as usual. In about 20 minutes or so. If you've got any questions, please put them in the chat box and I'll get to them. Anything to do with real estate investing, any deals that you're looking at, any tenant issues, landlord issues, financing issues, realtor issues, whatever it is, put them in the chat box. I'll get to them shortly. And as always, if you want to do a deep dive, you can always book a one-on-one with me where we'll go into more detail onto the subject at hand that's of interest to you. I had a couple this week. Good sessions, and I look forward to spend some time with you guys if you decide to put a one-on-one where we can do a really deep dive into a topic. So anyway, let's get down to are you building a real estate portfolio or quietly building pressure, stress, and risk that will eventually catch up with you? Are you really living your dream? So many investors, I think, begin their journey with a clear vision. We want financial freedom, we want flexibility, to do what we want to do when we want to do it, and also want to build long-term wealth. But as momentum builds, so does the pressure. The pressure to scale faster. I need to buy more houses, I need to do more things, acquire more homes. The pressure to prove that, quote unquote, you're winning. Over time, that pressure begins to, I think, influence decision-making, often subtly at first and then more aggressively later on. So what starts as ambition can slowly evolve into overextension. Investors who begin taking deals that don't really fully meet their criteria, their buy box, stretching their finances thinner than they planned and operating without systems needed to support their growth. That's really, not the right way. Take it from me. On the outside, things may look successful. People look at you and say, "Wow, so-and-so, you're doing well. You bought all these houses. You bought one house, two houses, five houses, whatever." But internally, the foundation may be weak, creating stress, confusion, and potentially more risk. So the reality is that sustainable success, in my opinion, in real estate, is really not about how fast you grow. It's about how well you grow. The investors who last are not the ones chasing every opportunity, but the ones who understand how to balance ambition with control, clarity, and discipline. Take it from me. I don't, it's not really important to buy 100 houses, 1,000 houses, or one every week, or whatever. That's not really that important. It's really to making sure that you have a balance in terms of your ambition, and you have clarity of purpose, and also you have discipline. This balance is really what separates, in my opinion, what short-term wins from long-term success. So let's go. As usual, we're going to break this session down to 6 parts, and let's get down to number 1. So number 1 is the hidden cost of unchecked ambition. The hidden cost of unchecked ambition. So the question is, are you expanding your portfolio, or are you quietly increasing your exposure to failure? Are you expanding your portfolio or quietly increasing your exposure to failure? Well, unchecked ambition often disguises itself as progress. People look at you, think you're doing well. You may be, but not always. Acquiring more properties feels like success, but closing more deals feels like more momentum. But many investors fail to account for the complexity that comes with each additional asset. As you buy more, it's just more complicated. Every property introduces new variables. What are those variables? Tenants, maintenance, finance, compliance, etc. And really, without the structure, these variables can quickly become quite overwhelming. Sometimes you can just feel like you're juggling too many balls in the air, I suppose. Investors who scale aggressively without preparation often found themselves juggling too many moving parts. Renovations overlapped, contractors become harder to manage, cash flow tightens due to unexpected expenses. When one deal underperforms, well, it creates a ripple effect across the entire portfolio. Okay? When one deal underperforms, they're so thin that it creates ripple effects across the entire portfolio. What seemed like growth was actually fragile expansion. On the other hand, investors who paused to stabilize before scaling, okay, so they paused before they stabilize. Well, they paused to stabilize before scaling, and using the systems that they have to produce resilience. So they understood that every new property acquired require new systems, reserves, and also oversight. They approached growth in phases, ensuring that each asset was performing before adding another one. So the hare and the tortoise is it tortoise? Or I think it's the hare and the tortoise. Yeah, that story. Just take slow but steady, as they say. And they approach growth in phases, ensuring that each asset was performing before adding another one, i.e., you don't just buy, but you buy it strategically. Their portfolios grew slower, yes, but they were far more durable. They withstand the test of time. Unchecked ambition amplifies both the upside and the downside, but without controls, the downside always wins. You may think you're doing good, but the downside always wins. So that's number 2. Number 1, sorry, which is the, are you expanding your portfolio or quietly increasing your exposure to failure? So let's talk about number 2 of 6, and that is the discipline of intentional growth. The discipline of intentional growth. And question is, are you selecting the right opportunities or reacting to whatever comes your way? Are you selecting the right opportunities, or are you just reacting to whatever comes your way? Well, many investors operate in reactive mode, always constantly fighting fires, drama going on all the time, constantly scanning for deals and jumping on opportunities that appear to be attractive in the moment. Well, but without a clear framework, this approach leads to inconsistency. Deals vary in quality, as we all know. Performance becomes unpredictable, and the portfolio lacks cohesion. Intentional investors operate differently. We operate differently. We define, or they define exactly what they're looking for, and more importantly, what they're not looking for. Okay, this clarity becomes a filter, that kind of protects their time, their capital, and also their focus. Okay, they pass on deals that don't align, even if they appear to be profitable on the surface. Not all deals are good deals. Investors who lacked discipline often accumulated properties that required excessive management or underperformed financially. In contrast, those who applied strict criteria, sort of portfolio standards, were much easier to manage and more consistent in their returns. So their success wasn't based on volume. No, it was based on alignment. Intentional growth is not about doing more. It's about doing the right thing consistently. So it's number three of six. Number three is systems over hustle. Systems over hustle. Well, the question is, let's have a look. Are you relying on the efforts or building a business that runs with structure and consistency? Are you relying on efforts, or are you building businesses that run with structure and consistency? What in the world am I talking about? Well, in the early stages, hustle is often necessary. You're fighting so many fires going on. It's just you. And it looks like you're trying to beat off the world. While investors personally handle everything, things like finding deals, managing renovations, screening tenants, and solving problems, this hands-on approach can produce results, but it doesn't scale without systems, growth, and chaos. Okay? So, task. Oh boy, sorry about that. Tasks become reactive rather than proactive. Information is scattered, it's all over the place. Mistakes increase, and investors become the bottleneck in their own business, unable to step away without everything, slowly going to rack and ruin or breaking up. So successful investors transitioned from effort-based operations to systems-based operations. So what do I mean by that? It's human beings, and be able to work with them to organize such that they can leverage different tools and websites and things like that. Successful investors transition from effort-based operations to system-based operations. We created repeatable processes for every major function: leasing, maintenance, accounting, renovations, and this reduced decision fatigue. So it helped create consistency across the portfolio. Systems doesn't just improve efficiently. They protect your time, energy, and your peace of mind. It's really important to have peace of mind. If you don't have peace, it's a hassle, and it makes you wonder, is this all worth it? And you get tempted to just sell out and be done with it. Well, I'm here to say don't. So let's go to number four. Number four is risk management and avoid overextension. Let's have a look. What am I talking about there? So risk management and avoiding overextension. Okay. Well, the question is, are you managing risk, or you're assuming that things will work out in your favor? Well, I'm here to tell you that things don't always work out in your favor. Many investors underestimate how quickly risk can compound. Well, a single miscalculation, underestimating renovation costs, overestimating rental costs, and having misjudged timelines. These all things can significantly impact profitability of your deal. So when multiple risks stack across the property, the consequence can be more severe, really. Over-leveraged investors often found themselves with little margin for error, and which delays occurs, and sometimes your costs will increase. You have limited options. Stress levels rise, and decision making becomes more strategic, I suppose, than just here's a key, you do what you want to do, and so on. So they built contingencies into every deal. They evaluated. That's important. They evaluated the worst case scenarios before committing, and also they maintain liquidity to absorb shocks. So that's number 4. Number 5 is an interesting one, which is to do with, let's have a look. The power of clarity and focus. The power of clarity and focus. I'm sure you understand where I'm going here. The question is, are you focused on proven path, or spreading yourself too thin across multiple strategies? I'm sure many of you can relate to that. Many investors struggle not because of a lack of opportunity, but because of lack of focus. Okay. They attempt to pursue multiple strategies simultaneously, diluting their effectiveness. Also, it's important that investors who lacked focus often find themselves busy but not productive. They move between ideas without mastering any of them. Progress was inconsistent, and the results were really underwhelming. In contrast, focused investors committed to a single strategy and refined it over time, they're the ones who are successful. They developed expertise, built efficient processes, and created sort of predictable outcomes. My goal is that you're able to that makes sense. Okay, so and finally, number 6, I'm going to talk about building a business that supports your life. Building a business that supports your life. And the question, I suppose, is this one, which is, are you building freedom, or really creating a business that demands more from you than it gives back? Okay, it requires more work from you than what you're trying to work on. So many investors enter real estate seeking flexibility and independence. We all are looking for that. Okay, but they end up with creating businesses that require constant attention. The absence of systems, delegation, and boundaries lead to a sort of a cycle where the investor is almost always on. They're always on. Okay, over time, this becomes unsustainable. Burnout sets in, motivation declines, and the original purpose behind real estate investing begins to fade. So what was meant to create freedom begins to feel like an obligation. And successful investors, we tend to approach the business differently. We design it intentionally, prioritizing efficiency, delegation, and balance. And we also understand that financial success without personal well-being is really incomplete. A well-built portfolio, really should enhance your life and not consume it. Okay. So in conclusion, I think we're good for now. So 7:21. What is the true cost? What is the true cost of, if it comes at the expense of your clarity, your control, and your peace? What is the point in doing all of this, if it doesn't help you, gain clarity, control, and peace? The journey of real estate investing is really filled with opportunity, but also with pressure. Ambition will always be a driving force, always, because we're ambitious people. It provides you to grow, to improve, and to pursue more. But, without the right balance, this is key. Without the right balance, that same ambition can lead to overextension, stress, and instability. The investors who succeed over the long term are not really just the ones who chase the gold or chase the growth at all costs. No, they're the ones who understand how to manage growth. They build systems, they maintain discipline, and they prioritize clarity. The most importantly, I suppose, is that they protect their peace. Peace of mind is worth a lot. The lesson learned here, so when it's sort of shared across multiple experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, and it provides some good tips, how we can do better. Because the goal isn't just to build wealth; it's building wealth that lasts and lasts and lasts and lasts and so on. So that, my friends, is the education part for this week, and hopefully you found it interesting. As usual, if you want to shoot me a text message and so forth, be ready. But first of all, if you've got any questions, please put them in the chat box and I'll get to them shortly. If you want to email me, you can always reach me by email at joe@joeasamoah.com, joe@joeasamoah.com. And shout out to shout out to who my folks down in Ghana, Xavier. Shout out to Xavier, my right-hand person behind the scenes. And also, say hi to, the folks that I'm working with to provide education and some knowledge transfer and sharing. So that's it for today. If you got some questions, please put in the chat box and I'll get to you later in a few minutes. If you want to shoot me an email, you can reach me at joe@joeasamoah.com, joe@joeasamoah.com. And that's how you can reach me. And with that said, let's get down to the other parts of the session, which is the Ask Dr. Joe segment. And let's see what kind of questions we have this week. Let's have a look. Turn it up. Comments. That's it. Okay. Hi, this is from Favor929. Hi, Favor929. The question is, excited to hear this. Well, I'm excited to share it with you. And greetings from Phoenix. Thank you, Dr. Joe. That's probably Daitu. Hope you're doing well up in sunny, I hope sunny Phoenix. Definitely a lot hotter than here. Okay. DHow23005. You have my sincerest condolences. So sorry for your loss. Yes, my brother passed away. Well, he didn't pass away. His wife passed away while I was in Ghana on vacation a couple of weeks ago. I pray that God is there for you in your time of mourning. Thank you very much for your kind words, Edie Howe. My condolences. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I didn't think I'd get many condolences, but looks like we have our fair share on this live stream. My condolences to you and your family, E-Favor. Thank you very much. Hey, Dr. Joe, it's been a while. You've been on replay for a month. Hopeful as well. Yes, I've been on replay for a month, but today is a live session, so please join me if you can. And finally, how was the event that you had last month in DC? I was trying to come, but we had a blizzard in New York City that weekend. Well, we had a great time. I think it's Nesta can. And we had a good session. And looking forward to continue working on 2026 and helping you achieve your real estate investing goals. So that's the question we have so far. If you got some questions, please put it in the chat box. Otherwise, I'm going to call today's session a little early. Maybe get some rest. But yeah, if you got any questions to do real estate investors, please put in the chat box and it'll get forwarded to me, and so on. So just do a summary of my trip to Ghana. We had a wonderful time. We spent most of the time in Accra, but we did do some little sightseeing, within the Accra city limits. We did, unfortunately, I said my brother's wife passed away, and it sounds like some folks down here also lost loved ones during this challenging times. All I can say is do the best and do well, do good, and please don't let material things go into your head. Everything can be replaced, and so on. So yeah, that's the session today. I hope you had a good time, and hopefully I will see you next Saturday. Sorry, next Wednesday. No, next Wednesday I'm going to be traveling to Ghana, so I won't be. It's going to be a recorded session next week, and hopefully I'll be able to share, my content with others here. So with that said and done, my friends, have yourself a wonderful evening, and I will speak to you next Wednesday. Take care. Thank you. Oh boy.